As you are all aware, right? The world is kind of drowning in data. There is this catchphrase. It says data is the new oil, right? You might have heard about it. But basically, as oil, was the driving force, for economies worldwide. Data today is actually the oil for the enterprise engine that drives businesses today, right? So without data, businesses can't move as fast as they can today. We don't have the gig economy is not possible. Companies like Uber and all these Uberisms are very difficult. And as you know, right, AI and machine learning have become a commodity today, right? Many companies have already got strong AI and machine learning tools and techniques that are being used, right? And you might have heard it several times now, but data science is hot in terms of the job market. You see worldwide, there's a lot of demand for data scientists. There's a lot of demand for people with quantitative skills in analyzing data, right? So without taking too much of your time, let me give you a brief kind of a bit of introduction to this space, and then I'll also talk to you about our programs, and then we can have a Q&A session at the end of it, right? So there's one statistic. There are many statistics, right? There's one statistic that says that by 2025, globally we're going to be producing about 463 billion gigabytes, right? I'm sure, like most of you, probably have a laptop, and you might have maybe a terabyte of hard disk space in that, or maybe 4, or maybe if you have a lot of money, maybe 8. But pretty much, we are drowning in the amount of data that's being produced today, right? If you take, social media, if you take enterprises, right? I'll give you some stats as we go through. I've got a few slides here to try and give you some sort of, summarized knowledge in the next 10, 15 minutes. So data is being produced across various domains, right? You see traditional domains like banking and healthcare and telecoms, producing vast amounts of data. You see social media, right? I mean, if you look at the amount of video people upload to YouTube in an hour, it's in terabytes. If you look at the amount of Instagram posts that people make, right? Half a million Twitter posts, I think every hour or every minute, right? So the statistics is staggering if you look at the amount of data being generated, right? But in spite of producing all of this data, there still remains a big challenge, right? The challenge is what we call as the analysis gap. There's a lot of data to analyze, but we don't have the ability to analyze all of that data, right? And there are really important reasons for that. I'll come to that in just a sec, right? I just put a few examples. So I teach in Carnegie Mellon. I'll come to that later as well, but I teach courses in machine learning and big data and business intelligence and analytics, in addition to information technology management and Java programming. But from my course, I just wanted to pick a couple of examples, and here are some things that you might relate to. So for example, Walmart, right? So Walmart has about 20,000 stores in 28 countries, and Walmart is in the process of building the world's biggest private cloud, right? And that will give them the ability to process 2.5 petabytes of data every hour, right? This kind of data is unimaginable when you think about storage and analysis, right? It's vast amounts of data. eBay, for example, is another giant, right? Just to give you a statistic, eBay has lots of data, lots of transactional data, and they have a single table that has more than 1 trillion rows of information, right? So and so much data that not all of them can be analyzed. Some of them have to be actually given up. You'd have to do all this. You have to actually look at the data and decide what can be thrown out before you can analyze the data, right? Even bigger than that is this project called the Square Kilometer Array Telescope, Radio Telescope Project, right? The project aims to build the world's largest radio telescope. And the amount of data that these telescopes are going to collect is about 3 terabytes per second, right? So there's so much data here that you actually need supercomputers to just organize the data before you can even analyze it, right? So these are the challenges that we are facing, due to data, due to the vast amounts of data being produced. And not just that, right? It's not about the vastness of the data being produced. It's about the speed at which it's being produced, right? So if you look at this little picture that I have for you, we are not just worried about the volume, right? So there's a huge volume of data being produced across various domains in the world today, right? At the same time, it's data that's coming in so fast. Think about Twitter, Instagram, Facebook feeds, right? The data is coming in. You've got millions of messages being posted every minute, right? So data is coming extremely fast pace, right? Then you've got variety, right? What do I mean by variety here? I'm talking about data in all forms. You've got structured data in the various industries. They're all traditionally structured, right? But on the other hand, you've got this vast amount of unstructured data. So here we're talking about images, right? How many of you take selfies? I'm sure all of you take a million selfies daily, right? So, and you're going to upload all of that to some cloud-based storage. So all of that data, all of the videos that you take, all of the TikToks that you create, right? All of these things are, basically being produced at an overwhelming rate, yeah? So variety is a big challenge for us to deal with, right? And then veracity is probably the biggest challenge, because veracity is about, hey, how good is this data? And what's the quality of this data like, right? Often what we find is a lot of data can be noisy, right? So when you're trying to analyze data, we need to be able to deal with the noise in the data. So veracity of data is a big problem, right? In addition to that, we also, the biggest issues in terms of data management are privacy, right? Privacy, and there is open data. There is a lot of free and open data available. How can we monetize this? How can we make business out of these freely available data sources, right? So there are all these different kinds of aspects that you look at when you talk about big data today and its management, right? So at CMU, we take an approach where we want to give students end-to-end skills in starting from core statistical foundations to structured data analysis through machine learning, unstructured data analysis through machine learning, big data management, right down to the deployment of these solutions, and then their management in an enterprise or in a business, right? So we give you both. We focus on not just the technical aspect, which we do with extreme rigor, but we also focus on the management of these technologies, right? So not everyone is a programmer here, I'm sure, and not everyone wants to program for the rest of their lives. So the focus is on making you a complete analytics professional, not just someone who knows how to use a particular tool, or someone who knows how to maybe write a particular report with analytics or do some research, right? So it is an across the board set of skills that will make you a complete analytics professional. That's my opinion, right? So that's my honest opinion at what we do here. So going forward, I just picked some statistics for you, for those of you who are interested. Because we are talking about beta, everything must be about proof and evidence-based results, right? So LinkedIn has been publishing the hottest skills, right, every year. And
sorry to disturb you, Rajiv. 1 second. Sorry to disturb you, Rajiv, and sorry, Mr. Murli. And I think the voice is not clear. So can you check the audio settings at your end? And
oh, okay. Let me just have. Sorry. Let me just. Is this better now?
Yeah, it's excellent now.
Okay. Sorry, I think it was the mic at a distance. All right. So I'm sorry for that interruption, and thank you for that correction. So we did a bit of. So I did a bit of check on the hottest skills of that LinkedIn posts, right? And have a look at the hottest skills for the last several years that I've noted. The top 2 skills that companies want, right, or are finding hardest to fill, are cloud computing, and statistical analysis and data mining, right? Which is basically talking about the machine learning aspect, right? Statistical analysis as well as machine learning. So the data science aspect, basically, right? So this has been consistently in demand. I mean, at least for the last 7 to 8 years that I've seen, right? So what you're trying, if you're interested in business intelligence and analytics, I don't think you're wrong, right? You're in the right spot in terms of what you want to, where you want to go, because we are not going to stop producing data anytime soon, and companies are not going to halt looking for data scientists soon as well, right? So let me talk to you about the program goal itself, right? So the beta program. So I worked with Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh to design the beta program for our campus here, right? So the beta program, if you look at the curriculum, right, it's a comprehensive mix of courses in business intelligence, data science, IT management, and technology, with an industry-based data analytics project and an internship, right? So basically, the goal is to combine, cutting-edge knowledge, right, in a very personalized setting, and to make students job ready, right? So we want you to step out of our campus and be able to work with an employer without having to start from scratch. And what I mean by that is without having to be retrained like what a traditional student will go through, right? Yeah, and CMU kind of prides itself in that we are rigorous enough that we want to train you, we want to push you as well, right? So you're not going to come here and have an easy time in terms of your studies. You will work really hard. We will make you work really hard. But the point is that at the end of the day, that's what will give you that job that you're looking for. That's what makes employers respect CMU graduates, right? So, I guess Rajiv can at some point of time give you the statistics about past students who are working in different positions in Australia, and many of them are doing extremely well in data science positions and in business intelligence positions across Australia, right? So, talking about the program itself, right? Again, why would you consider this in comparison to a lot of other business intelligence and data analytics programs? Part of it is this really nice mix of analytics, business, and technology, right? As I told you earlier, I'll take you through the courses also for a minute. We have a very comprehensive set of analytics courses that you will take, right? And this is starting from, as I said, statistics, starting from programming on the one side, statistics on the other side, quantitative techniques on one side, and then going on to looking at databases, machine learning, structured and unstructured machine learning, big data management, looking at the cloud side of it, and then right down to the implementation and the management of these technologies at employers, right? So and then all of this knowledge is actually tested through this Capstone project. So we make our students work on a Capstone project, which is, think about it as your final project. And this final project is actually associated with a client. So you will go and work with a client and work in a group.
Excuse me, Raju. Again, the same problem, audio problem.
Okay. We will just, I think it's, maybe I can just move it. Yeah. Sorry about the audio, everyone. I think it's.
I've given.
I've got both the mics now. Is that
better?
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay. I don't know if it's a bit of a latency issue or what, but yeah, I hope you were able to get what I was trying to say previously.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, that's
okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. So as I was just highlighting, right? The point is, this mix of analytics, business, and technology, and then the Capstone project, which is tied to a business client, basically means that all of that knowledge is put to test in a practical environment, right? And a real world environment. So it's not about. I'll give you some examples of what happens elsewhere. So just for you to compare, right? I've worked in many other universities, as I said earlier. I've come through many Australian universities, and I have a lot of colleagues and friends, and who are in different Australian universities, right? The thing about a lot of Australian universities, they are extremely good on their own strengths, but a lot of the programs in IT that I find, the projects and the internships and the content, they tend to be at a very superficial level, right? Many of the projects are often dummy projects. So it's like a client who is not really there, but it's a pretend client, right? So the seriousness of the project does not sink in, right? Internships are often internships that are many often times paid. They are always with clients where you go and work with the client on their projects. You're actually an employee of the client, right? So you are working on real-time projects that the client is working on. And I know many of our students who have actually been successful in going from the internship to a full-time position, right? So that is something that you find very rare in a lot of the other Australian universities, right? And the third thing to reinforce all of this is that in almost every single course that I know of here, we try to incorporate assignments and projects that are, again, applicable right in the real world, right? So what you're learning and what you're putting into practice, right, are actually skills that you can take to employers, and employers can use those skills, right? I'll give you an example. So I don't know if some of you may come from an analytics background, I'm not sure, but you might have heard about the tool called Tableau, right? Or Microsoft Power BI, right? These are very popular tools for business intelligence and dashboards and analytics, right? For presenting analytics and doing multidimensional analysis. So we teach these, we use these tools in assignments in our courses, right? And what that does for students is when they go out into the Australian market, I think about 60 to 70% of the Australian market uses these tools, right? And that basically means that learning these tools, they can take that knowledge and put it into practice, right? So that is a significant advantage. So these are some of the things that we embed into our curriculum, these practices, right? So to kind of, I guess, mention further, right? We don't stop at just giving you a bunch of courses, giving you some skills, and testing you, right? I actively push my students to take part in analytics competitions. And a lot of our faculty do that, right? They take part in competitions across the board. And as you can see in this slide, our students have won several analytics competitions in the last, almost in the last decade or so, right? And what you see here, there is a data challenge called GovHack, which is run by the Australian government and across Australia. And Carnegie Mellon has been winning prizes in this competition almost every year over the last 5 years, right? Ever since GovHack, the competition started, right? So likewise, we push students beyond their essential curriculum, right? And that's really important. That's what gives you the exposure, right? I mean, there are thousands of students studying IT, right? So what makes you special to an employer, right? So that's the one issue. That's the one area that we are trying to push students as well. I'm really sorry about the mic issues. I can see some messages about the mic. Hopefully, I don't know if this is recorded, but if this is recorded, it is recording. So I will ask Rajiv to maybe make the recording available for you so you can actually hear it. Hopefully the recording has good audio, right? So anyway, so having said that, I will kind of just finish off and then maybe we can have some question and answers. So let me try moving the mic. Hopefully that'll help. So key things for you to remember, right? So with our program, as I said, the core curriculum is a very integrated analytics, business, technology-based curriculum, yeah, with a lot of hands-on, with the essence being a hands-on approach and practical aspects like the project and the internship, very real-world, aspects. And then this is what I was just to add on, right? So in addition to your courses, we push students to take up challenges, to take up external projects, and then also you are able to do an independent study with faculty here. If you're interested in research, if you have already done some research and you want to work on some topics, you are allowed to take some independent studies on your own with supervision from the faculty, right? That is another added sort of bonus that our program offers. Finally, I will summarize again as to why CMU BETA, right? So I want to highlight the rigor, right? So we take your study seriously, right? So we want to make sure that you really learn what we teach, and you need to be able to put it into practice, right? That is what will make you the special, graduate. So rigorous and relevant content, right? We make sure we give you that. Across the board, we use tools that are relevant, tools that are cutting edge, well known, useful, tools that will actually, some of those tools are used in the industry, and so those skills are really valuable in my opinion, right? The goal is to make you job ready, right? So again, most employers, when they take you in, they expect that they have to retrain you. For many of our graduates, they have been able to help employers and startups in actually helping them develop their own software solution, right? So from that context, we want you to be ready for the job, right? And then,
excuse me, Rajiv. Again, that mic problem is coming. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, I think we'll finish this maybe, and then possibly do one at a later date. So,
Yeah. Is that better now?
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some issue which I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's never happened before.
Yeah, it's this is a technology issue. So right when you need it.
Yes.
So, but look, we can take some question and answers because the mic isn't that great. Let's take some question and answers from students, and then we'll try and find out if the recording has come out well. If the recording is good, then we'll share that with you, so you can share that with the students.
Yeah, sure, Professor. And hi guys, if you have any doubts, please raise your hand so that I can unmute yourself, and I can unmute you. You can ask the questions.
So there is questions in the chat box.
Yeah. One student, Himik, has asked a question. Data science is a huge domain. How we should decide to choose subdomain like data engineering, analytics, etc.
So can you hear me? I mean, is this clear? Because so I can answer that.
It's clear.
It's clear. Okay, good. Yeah. So look, when you look at data science, as you rightly pointed out, there are several areas that you can focus on, right? You can focus on data engineering, which requires a lot of programming, hardcore database skills, a lot of data, data programming skills, maybe needing the knowledge of several languages, needing an understanding of cloud-based platforms, right? So if your aptitude is, if you like programming, if you enjoy working with SQL, a lot of data wrangling, data writing, Python and JavaScripts or, similar languages, enjoying that, then yes, data engineering and data, looking at aspects of data science where, you have to work with pre-processing data, right? So if you're interested in those areas, yeah, focus on data engineering, because there is, again, data engineering is also in great demand because, a lot of companies want, data engineering skills in terms of managing their data sources, right? So that's on the one side. On the other hand, if you are interested in, for example, doing machine learning, right? You want to work with for a company and you want to analyze just their data and use analytical tools, use machine learning algorithms to analyze the data and to create, predictive models. Then you can focus on the machine learning side, right? You can focus on data mining, the statistical analysis, and those areas, right? So, but again, that's where, what we try to do in our program is we try to give you skills ranging from data engineering to, the end-to-end solution design, right? So we cover data engineering, machine learning, all of the data science aspects in that program. So if you decide to go in either of the areas, you can certainly go. I know of our students who are working as data engineers. In fact, one of the leading IT data engineers in the Australian tax office is our student, ex-student from several years back. So our students are in data engineering as well as data science. I recently, one of my students recently shared a message about getting a job as a data scientist at Amazon, right? So we have students across the board in different areas, not just in specific areas like data engineering or in data mining or in, unstructured data analytics. So Hope that helps.
You can put your question in chat box.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can.
There is a question in chat box, Professor.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah. So what are the skills required before you start working on data science, right? That was the question. So look, I think data science as a foundation, if you ask me, requires reasonably good mathematical and statistical skills, right? When you start studying, the AI and machine learning and those kinds of technologies, what you come to realize is a lot of them have foundations in quantitative methods, in statistics, in metrics manipulation, right? So it's always good to have a reasonably good math and stats foundation, right? The second thing is you shouldn't be shy you shouldn't be shy to program, right? So the knowledge of any programming language, but reasonable knowledge is also important, right? Because though these days there are many tools, right, available for you to do machine learning, point and click tools, still you will need to program at some point of time, right? Like, for example, I'm sure you heard about Python, right? And Python is a very popular language for data science, right? And so knowledge of programming in that context will help you work with Python, right? Having some foundations in programming will then give you that boost when you're trying to learn other languages that support data science, right? So in my in my opinion, essentially, math and stats, reasonable amount of experience, a reasonable amount of programming knowledge, right? And thirdly, I would also suggest having knowledge of database technologies, right? So knowing how to work with databases, knowing how to use SQL, for example, is a big plus, right? Because at the end of the day, data is basically your oil that you need to process, right? So you need to be able to have the skills to clean data, to extract the data, transform it. So all that basically then goes back to the foundations in math, programming, and databases, right? So there's a few questions. Cybersecurity, yes, cybersecurity is also, we do offer a cybersecurity master's program as well. I think sort of Rajiv can give you information on that. Unfortunately, there's no MBA program here. That's only in the US campus. So in the US, in the main campus. Yeah, and I think if there was a few questions on the MBA programs. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't offer one.
We don't offer one. As I said in the beginning, we are a very, very niche campus here in Adelaide. So I guess, in terms of the programs we do offer here, MBA is not one of them. Also, if I can add one point for the benefit of everyone here, one of the other advantages you will have coming to the campus here and doing the degree is after you finish your studies, you will be getting starting from next year, you get 3 years of post-study work visa, right? So as you would know, Australia has a system in place where if you come and study here for at least a 2-year program, you do get an opportunity to stay back for 2 years. But Adelaide being a regional city, you get it for 3 years starting from next year. So I'm sure your different counselors from different STORM branches will be able to give you more information. Yep.
There's a question on TOEFL and IELTS requirements.
Okay, so with the entry requirements, the eligibility requirements, you can do either TOEFL or IELTS. With IELTS, generally, we prefer students who have a minimum of 6.5 in each band. And with TOEFL, you need to have at least 22 in each band. I'm sure you have been briefed by your counselors, respective counselors in whichever city you are in. In addition to IELTS or TOEFL, you also need to sit for GRE or GMAT to come to Adelaide and do this program with Carnegie Mellon. So the minimum scores to apply for a program for GRE is 300 and for GMAT it's 600. This is just the minimum score. It doesn't guarantee you admission, but in order to make you eligible to apply. Yep.
Right. So in terms of scholarships at the university, I think you just apply with and you're automatically considered, right?
Correct. So as long as you are admitted a place in Carnegie Mellon, you will automatically get a scholarship of $30,000 for the 2-year program. Yep.
So there are some more technical questions here. So let me answer them. So how is data science useful in automobiles? Interesting question. Look, there are a lot of applications of data science in automobiles, right? Because these days, a lot of automobiles, right, are controlled by engine management systems that actually produce a lot of data, right? So data science can be used to analyze data from the sensors in automobiles. And in fact, many companies already do this. They analyze the data and they can predict things like how well the engine is performing. They can even predict when the engine is going to fail or if some parts are malfunctioning, right? So predictive maintenance, it's called, using data. You must have heard about self-driving cars, right? Autonomous vehicles. So autonomous vehicles run because of machine learning. A lot of data science there, right? So it is. So as you can see, not just for cars. You can if you look at planes, right? Aeroplanes, or if you look at aircraft, if you look at any form of transport, there is a lot of data being generated from these because as these vehicles are becoming more and more sophisticated, there is a lot of data being collected from these vehicles, right? So data science techniques can be used in analyzing that and coming up with some useful insights, right? So that's in short, right? But certainly a lot of applications of data science in automobiles, right? So how do you become a data analyst? I think there was a question about that. So questions on fee structure and
sorry to interrupt. So can I please request for general questions about fees, scholarships, can we please have it in a separate session? I think the purpose of having Professor Murli here today is if anyone has any technical questions, questions about the program. With fees and scholarships, I'm sure your counselors would have the full information I have shared with the whole team. By all means, if you do want, you can reach out to me at a later stage. But for purposes of this Q&A, it will really be good if you can ask any technical questions you have for Professor Murli.
Yeah. So you can, a lot of this general information, Rajiv will share, and I'm sure with your counselors, and they will be able to give you all of that, right? Like GPA requirements and TOEFL, IELTS, all of that, we will have standard information for you. So, and I'm sure they can be sent, right? If you talk to the counselors, they'll be able to give you all of that, standard questions and answers. And also talk to your counselors about the programs that are available, because again, we don't do engineering. We just provide. We only do masters in IT in BETA and masters in IT in information technology management, and we only offer masters in public policy management, right? So it's only really 3 programs here, main programs here, right? For all the other programs, you have to, I guess, talk to the main campus, right? So. Yeah, and so just to answer a question that I think I may be able to do some justice about. So what is required to become a data analyst, right? So as I said earlier, right, you need reasonably good foundations in quantitative techniques. So basically math and stats, being able to program, right? If it's some language, if you don't have to learn a specific language, you can always pick it up later, but you need to have some reasonable programming skills, right? So you can work in data science situations where you have to code, right? And the other skill set is databases, right? So being able to manage databases, being able to write, SQL queries, for example, being able to work with that entire data pre-processing area, right? So these are the 3 skills, but as I said, you need to have a reasonable amount of these skills. You don't, obviously, we don't expect you to be experts. We want you to have an interest in these skills. Do some research, all right? So look, these days you have excellent search engines, so which can actually give you a lot of knowledge about the field, right? So, go ahead and do some searches on, data science. There are a lot of very useful and free data science resources online today, right? So try and make use of them. If you search on Google, for example, if you just go to Google and search, free data science resources, right? You will find plenty of educational material, plenty of wonderful videos, and material that you can actually learn a lot from, right? So don't restrict your learning to any specific books or any narrow area, right? Google, use search engines, search for material, try to broaden your knowledge, right? So even before you come to the program, try to do some research into where data science is going, how AI is being used, how machine learning techniques are being used today. So that will give you a great kickstart, before your program, right? So I think we can wrap up.
Yeah. Okay, so I think if there's no more questions, probably we might wrap up the session today. So thank you very much for everyone for being part of the webinar. We hope it has been useful and informative. And please get in touch with your local STORM counselors, with your local branch offices. And as I said, we have the next intake coming up in January. So the application deadline is just about 2 months from now. So I guess for those of you who already have a GRE, GMAT, by all means, we can, we accept the scores from the last 5 years. It's still valid. For those who haven't, I would strongly encourage you to book a test date and get over with the GRE or GMAT. And we look forward to welcoming all of you to our beautiful campus here in Adelaide.
Certainly do. Yeah. All the best.
Yeah.
With your future studies, and hope you find the right course that you're looking for.
Yep. Sure.
Thank you, Professor, and thank you, Rajiv, and thanks for organizing this kind of wonderful session.
Thank you.
Good. Welcome.
Have a nice day.
Yeah. All the best.
Yeah. Bye.